Welcome, beautiful damsels. Disrespect a Sigma female, and you'll wish you hadn't. Why? Because she's not the type to engage in petty arguments or throw emotional tantrums. In fact, studies show that confident, independent people like Sigma females are more likely to handle confrontation with a level of precision and calmness that can leave others completely speechless. When someone crosses the line, she doesn't just react, she strategizes. And her responses aren't the typical dramatic, eye-rolling kind you see in a soap opera. No, she's the master of cold, calculated comebacks that make people rethink their entire approach. You might think you're playing checkers, but she's already moved 5 steps ahead in chess. And if you're not careful, you might find yourself in checkmate before you even realize the game started. So let's dive into how Sigma females handle disrespect with a quiet authority that demands respect without ever needing to beg for it. Number 1. Deadpan dismissal. When someone throws a cheap insult or tries to rattle a Sigma female, she doesn't flinch or throw insults back like it's a verbal boxing match. Instead, she responds with a deadpan face that says, "Is that the best you've got?" There's something unnervingly powerful about someone who can sit there, unblinking, staring at you like you just delivered the dullest monologue in history. She won't give you the satisfaction of knowing your words affected her, because they didn't. It's not just a poker face, it's a masterclass in emotional control. This isn't her pretending to be unfazed, it's genuinely being unbothered. While most people might explode, get defensive, or attempt some clever clapback, the Sigma female's indifference hits harder. It's a subtle yet devastating message. Your disrespect doesn't even register on her radar. If you were trying to provoke her, it's a clear sign you failed, miserably. And if you're on the receiving end, it's almost eerie. It's like trying to insult a brick wall. You're just left feeling silly for trying. The power in this deadpan response isn't just about staying cool. It's about letting the disrespect unravel itself in silence. She knows that reacting with anger only gives the other person what they want, attention. Instead, she shuts them down with pure indifference. It's a move that's both ruthless and elegant, like dropping the mic without even saying a word. The best part? The other person walks away not only feeling unheard but insignificant. By not reacting, she makes them realize that their attempt to shake her was like throwing stones at a mountain. They may have tried, but the mountain didn't budge. Number 2, sharp precision in words. When it comes to disrespect, a Sigma female doesn't engage in messy back and forths or get dragged into pointless debates. Instead, she chooses her words with razor-sharp precision. She isn't out to scream louder or dominate the conversation. She's out to shut it down with one surgical strike. When someone throws shade or steps out of line, her response isn't a barrage of words or dramatic flair. It's a single, calmly delivered line that slices right through the nonsense. It's the verbal equivalent of a sniper shot, quick, direct, and impossible to ignore. She's not wasting time trying to prove anything or putting on a show for bystanders. The insult gets diffused with such efficiency that the person who dared disrespect her is left standing there, questioning their own intelligence. While most people rely on volume and intensity, she uses brevity and logic to dismantle the situation. One line is all she needs to highlight the flaws in their argument or expose their pettiness. And when she delivers it with that calm, neutral tone, it's even more disarming. This approach isn't about being passive-aggressive or playing mind games. It's about making it crystal clear that she's too sharp to entertain nonsense. There's nothing more embarrassing than trying to disrespect someone, only to have them cut through your bravado like butter with just a few words. It's like coming at her with a dull kitchen knife, and she responds with a finely honed scalpel. What makes this approach so brutally effective is that it's not loud and it's not boastful. It's pure, understated intellect. Her response leaves people not just feeling shut down but exposed, like they walked into a battle of wits and got outplayed without even realizing it. And that's how she wins, without ever needing to raise her voice. Number 3. Zero eye contact. When a Sigma female is disrespected, she employs a tactic that's both striking and effective. She simply doesn't make eye contact. It's not a matter of being rude. It's a calculated decision to elevate herself above the petty behavior of others. By diverting her gaze to something, anything else, she sends a powerful message. You don't deserve my attention. It's like she's flipping a switch that turns the offender into mere background noise, akin to the hum of a refrigerator or the ticking of a clock. There, but ultimately irrelevant. This refusal to engage visually is profound. It reflects her self-control and emotional maturity. Instead of getting drawn into a confrontation or allowing herself to be provoked, she remains centered and focused on her own priorities. Whether she's staring at her phone, observing the scenery, or simply gazing into the distance, she demonstrates that her energy is reserved for things that truly matter. This makes the person who disrespected her feel diminished, almost like a ghost that can't even command a glance. And let's be honest, it's pretty powerful. Imagine someone throwing shade your way, and instead of reacting, you look away as if they're completely invisible. It's like handing them a mirror that reflects their own insecurities back at them. The silence becomes deafening, and they're left awkwardly grappling with their need for validation. Their insults lose their sting when met with such indifference. For her, it's not about seeking revenge. It's about asserting her own worth. She knows that her time and energy are too precious to waste on individuals who thrive on drama. By choosing to focus on something else, she elevates herself to a higher plane, demonstrating that she has no room in her life for negativity. This unwavering self-assurance can be unsettling for others, but it also serves as a reminder that true power lies not in loud reactions, but in serene confidence that refuses to be shaken. In her world, the petty become invisible, and the truly significant shine even brighter. Number 4. Swift recalibration of respect levels. When a Sigma female feels disrespected, she doesn't go on a public crusade to reclaim her dignity. Instead, she quietly recalibrates how she treats you, and this shift is both subtle and unmistakable. It's like the emotional temperature just dropped a few degrees. She doesn't have to say a single word. Her actions do all the talking. Her tone becomes flat, her response is shorter, and all that warmth and generosity she once offered vanished, like she flipped a switch. The shift isn't about being petty or holding a grudge. It's about rebalancing the scales. She's basically letting you know that your actions just triggered a demotion in the way she views and treats you. It's like you had VIP access to her energy, her time, and her trust, but you disrespected that privilege. Now, you're in the general admission section, and no, there's no upgrade coming. The thing about Sigma females is they don't hand out respect blindly, and when you break that trust, you're going to notice the change, but good luck trying to reverse it. This recalibration of respect doesn't come with any grand announcements or melodramatic speeches. In fact, by the time you realize what's happening, the transition is already complete. It's her way of making you earn back what you lost, if she even allows you that chance. And if you don't catch on, well, you'll just keep running into that invisible wall she put up, wondering why every interaction suddenly feels colder. What's brilliant about this approach is that it's not reactive, it's proactive. Instead of waiting for an apology or trying to teach someone a lesson through words, she teaches it through behavior. And this quiet shift is far more impactful than any loud confrontation ever could be. You disrespected her, and now you're left dealing with the consequences without her ever needing to raise her voice or state her case. Number 5. Direct acknowledgement of disrespect. When someone disrespects a Sigma female, she's not going to play the "let's pretend that didn't happen" game. She'll call it out with directness that hits like a truth bomb. It's not about being rude, it's about making sure there's no room for confusion. She might say something like, "Wow, that was bold. Did you mean to sound that disrespectful?" Or a simple, "Just so you know, that crossed a line." There's no passive-aggressive hinting or sidestepping the issue. She cuts straight to it. What makes this approach so effective is her choice of words combined with her delivery. It's firm, factual, and often catches the other person off guard. Suddenly, they're squirming under the spotlight of their own behavior, realizing that their attempt to be slick or subtle just backfired. And the best part? She doesn't need to raise her voice or get dramatic. She states it plainly as if she's reading the news. No emotional charge, just facts. But here's the kicker. She's not trying to shame the person into an apology. She's merely letting them know that their words or actions didn't slip by unnoticed. It's like hitting the brakes on whatever they thought they were trying to pull. And if they try to backpedal with excuses or pretend they didn't mean it that way, she won't play along. She'll just look them dead in the eye with that unamused expression that says, "We both know what just happened." In the end, the other person is left scrambling to justify themselves while she's already moved on. Because for a Sigma female, there's nothing more satisfying than delivering a mic drop moment without even trying. Number 6. Civility as a power move. When a Sigma female encounters disrespect, her response is a masterclass in calculated civility. Instead of reacting with anger or sarcasm, she serves up a platter of perfect politeness that's almost surgical in its precision. It's unnerving for the offender because they expect a fiery retort or a dramatic showdown. But what they get is a calm demeanor and a smile that could slice through ice. It's like watching a chess master move their pieces with such ease that you're left questioning your own strategy. For instance, if someone throws a cheap shot, she might respond with a sweetly delivered, "Thank you for sharing your opinion." It's always enlightening to see how others think. It sounds harmless, even gracious, but beneath the surface, it's a well-crafted message. She's in control, and their disrespect is more amusing than infuriating. This polite demeanor flips the script, making the person who disrespected her feel more embarrassed than they ever intended. After all, who feels good about themselves when they're met with a kind smile after being rude? This approach serves two purposes. First, it reinforces her emotional strength. She refuses to let their cheap shots penetrate her composure. She's like a Teflon shield, nothing sticks. Second, it puts the focus back on the offender, forcing them to confront their behavior. They can't just shrug off their rudeness when she's standing there, cool as a cucumber, calmly exposing their lack of etiquette. In a world that often rewards confrontational responses, her ability to remain civil is a power move that disarms and dismantles. The offender leaves feeling small, realizing they've just been schooled by someone who didn't need to raise her voice to make a point. The truth is, while they were busy throwing verbal punches, she was busy building a fortress of composure that they could never hope to penetrate. It's a reminder that true strength doesn't always come from how loudly you speak, but rather from how gracefully you respond. Number 7. Making success her loudest revenge. For a Sigma female, revenge isn't about loud confrontations or dramatic gestures. It's about harnessing her energy into success that echoes through every room she enters. When someone disrespects her, she doesn't waste time with petty comebacks or emotional outbursts. Instead, she silently collects her motivation like a snowball rolling downhill, gaining momentum until it transforms into something unstoppable. Her approach is simple. She turns her frustration into fuel for her ambitions, and that's where her true power lies. She understands that the best form of retaliation is not to engage in a verbal tussle, but to channel her energy into achieving her goals. Whether it's nailing that promotion, launching a successful project, or simply living her best life, each milestone becomes a silent yet powerful statement. It's like she's sending a message to those who doubted her. I didn't need to argue. I just needed to succeed. This is where her strength truly shines, because while her detractors are busy wallowing in their negativity, she's out there making waves. This calculated approach often leaves her opponents in the dust, bewildered at how they misjudged her. They might expect her to lash out, but instead, they see her climbing the ladder of success with a calm determination that's almost intimidating. It's like watching a movie where the quiet hero ultimately saves the day, leaving the antagonists floundering in their own drama. Her accomplishments do the talking, and they resonate far louder than any snarky comeback ever could. When she walks into a room and people realize what she's achieved, their earlier disrespect transforms into a mixture of awe and regret. They can't help but feel embarrassed for underestimating her. She's not just winning, she's redefining the game, showing that real power lies in achievements, not words. In the end, her silence is her loudest revenge, and it's a symphony that plays long after the confrontation is over. Number 8. Professional detachment. When someone disrespects a Sigma female, She flips a switch and goes into what can only be described as professional mode. It's like she's running a meeting with an unruly colleague rather than dealing with a personal offense. Her tone becomes cold, clipped, and strictly factual. There's no warmth or charm, no light banter. She's all business, and the shift is so noticeable it's almost chilling. It's a clear signal. She's not here to play nice or smooth things over. She's here to lay down the facts and move on. This professional detachment isn't about being robotic. It's about asserting boundaries with zero ambiguity. By cutting off all emotional connection, she leaves no room for the other person to twist her words or interpret her actions as weakness. She's like a CEO addressing a breach in company policy, firm, clear, and completely uninterested in debating the details. It's not up for discussion, it's just the way things are now. And that unnerves people. They came looking for a fight, some emotional reaction to feed on, and instead, they're met with a wall of ice. The beauty of this approach is that it doesn't just set boundaries, it changes the dynamic entirely. The person who disrespected her is suddenly faced with the realization that they're not dealing with someone who will let things slide. Instead, they're faced with someone who's treating them like an employee on probation. That shift is a subtle power move, but it's one that leaves an impact. It signals that they've lost access to the casual, friendly version of her. And now all interactions are strictly business. And the best part? There's no dramatic declaration, no "you crossed a line" speech. Just a seamless, stone-cold pivot that says, you don't matter enough to provoke a reaction. Now that's how you send a message without even raising your voice. Number 9. Withdrawing generosity without announcing it. When a Sigma female feels disrespected, her method of response is as subtle as it is effective. She simply withdraws her generosity without a single word of explanation. No dramatic confrontations or angry lectures. Instead, she opts for a silent but powerful form of revenge that leaves others scratching their heads. Imagine this. You're used to her going above and beyond, whether it's running errands, lending a hand, or being the go-to problem solver. Then suddenly it's like she flipped a switch, and all those favors vanish into thin air. Poof! Just like that, she's reclaimed her energy, and the people who took it for granted are left staring at an empty well. It's not that she announces her withdrawal with a grand exit, she just quietly fades out of the picture. One day, they're enjoying her generosity, and the next, they're left to navigate life on their own. It's like watching a magician perform a vanishing act, only instead of a rabbit disappearing, it's all the helpful favors they used to rely on. Suddenly they realize that the person who always had their back is now nowhere to be found. And the beauty of this strategy, there's no need for confrontation, and no need for her to say, "I can't believe you disrespected me." They just have to deal with the awkward realization that they're out there in the world, fending for themselves, all while she's off enjoying her newfound peace. It's as if she's drawn a boundary without ever needing to utter a single word. This might leave some people baffled. Did I do something wrong? They might wonder. The truth is, she doesn't need to explain. The lesson is clear. Respect is a two-way street. And if they fail to acknowledge that, they'll find themselves driving solo. It's a quiet yet effective reminder that her generosity is not a bottomless pit. It's a privilege reserved for those who appreciate it. And honestly, who wouldn't want to watch their own favors run out like a faulty faucet? It's a witty, clever twist that leaves them not just wondering what happened, but also wishing they hadn't taken her for granted in the first place. Number 10. Calculated silence that forces. In a world that often craves instant reactions, the Sigma female wields calculated silence like a finely honed weapon. When faced with disrespect, she understands that sometimes the most powerful response is simply to say nothing at all. This silence isn't awkward or uncomfortable for her. Instead, it creates a thick tension in the air that can only be described as electrifying. It's as if she's dropped a verbal bombshell and then decided to leave the room, allowing the other person to grapple with the consequences of their own words and actions. Imagine the scene. Someone throws a disrespectful comment her way, expecting a reaction. Instead, she offers nothing but a serene expression and a steady gaze that seems to look right through them. In that moment, she transforms the interaction into a mirror, reflecting their behavior back at them. It's an unspoken challenge that forces the offender to confront their rudeness head-on, leaving them with the uncomfortable task of wrestling with their own choices. This tactic is particularly effective because it subverts the usual expectation of conflict. Instead of escalating the situation, she allows the silence to linger, prompting self-reflection. It's a clever psychological play. By choosing not to engage, she positions herself as the one in control, demonstrating that their disrespect doesn't warrant her energy or attention. The discomfort of that silence is often more painful than any retort she could offer. The beauty of this response is its simplicity and its impact. It doesn't just diffuse the situation, it flips the script entirely. In a society where many feel compelled to respond immediately, the Sigma female's ability to embrace silence speaks volumes. It's a reminder that not every battle needs a vocal champion. Sometimes the most profound statement is the one made in quiet strength. And who knew that being a master of silence could be so powerful? It's like being a ninja of emotional intelligence, leaving everyone else to ponder their own missteps while she gracefully moves on, unbothered and untouched. In the realm of human interactions, especially when it comes to the delicate dance of respect, the Sigma female stands out as a master strategist. Her responses to disrespect are not loud declarations, but rather nuanced moves that speak volumes without uttering a word. From withdrawing her generous spirit to focusing her gaze elsewhere, she masterfully wields silence and composure as her greatest tools. Each approach is a testament to her emotional intelligence and self-worth, demonstrating that true strength lies not in reactive anger, but in the quiet assurance of knowing her value. Ultimately, the Sigma female teaches us a powerful lesson. Respect is earned, and when it's lacking, the best response is often to elevate oneself above the fray. By reclaiming her energy and setting firm boundaries, she not only protects her peace, but also sends a clear message to those who dare to undermine her. Her methods may be understated, but the impact is profound, leaving a lasting impression that resonates far beyond the initial moment of disrespect. In a world that often thrives on noise and drama, the Sigma female's ability to remain composed and focused makes her an intriguing figure. She reminds us that while we can't control how others behave, we can control our responses. So the next time someone tries to throw shade your way, take a page from the Sigma playbook. Choose your battles wisely, reclaim your energy, and let your success do the talking. After all, in the game of life, sometimes the most powerful statement is the one you don't have to say at all. If you've enjoyed unraveling the mysteries of the Sigma female and her brilliantly cool responses to disrespect, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join our growing community where we dive deep into the fascinating world of personality dynamics, self-worth, and all things extraordinary. Who wouldn't want to keep up with the latest insights that could level up your understanding of human behavior? Think of subscribing as your VIP pass to a treasure trove of knowledge. No awkward lectures or boring lessons here, just fun, engaging content that'll keep you entertained and enlightened. So come on in, let's explore together and discover how to navigate life with a Sigma twist. Trust us, you don't want to miss out on what's coming next. Hit subscribe and let's embark on this exciting journey together. Thanks, damsels, for tuning in. See you in the next vid. Bye and stay blessed.